So let's go to Unity Hub and go to Project and click on the new project. Um, we want to have a URP 2D. For example, I select this SRP has a URP and also high definition of that. With this selected, we can have more control on the process and also on different features that I tell you later. For example, on how to render the game. For example, you say that, okay, if I want to render for the mobile, then that is good. And it has some great features compared to built-in render pipeline. So select this. And the name of the project would be, for example, you want to select a very cool name for our game because it would be something that would be in the mind of the people. So yes, this is a tutorial, but be mindful and always search. For example, you select the name of a game and always go and search if the name has been selected before, so the name of your game wouldn't be something that the other people have chosen. So imagine that this is the Golden War. Doesn't have any specific meaning, but that's fine. I don't think that someone has selected this name. Maybe they did, but it is a tutorial. It's not important. So now just click on create. Okay, now I just want to talk about a very important concept that you should be aware before you begin your project. It is about what resolution do you want your game be? For example, you saw those pixel arts. For example, they have 8 pixels, then the resolution is that, or you want something that has more details and, for example, 128 pixels. So you want a high resolution game or a retro pixel game. For example, to better understand that, I show you two pictures. The first one is of course, I've been enlarged that, so 8 pixel is not really that big, but to make you understand it better, do you see that? Do you see these cubes, the pixels? So that is one style. And also look at the same character, somehow the same one. And it has higher resolution and it has higher detail. Yes, if you focus on the picture, you see some cubes which resembles the pixels. So these are two types of the game that you can make. Now, if you want that your game for every unit it has 8 pixel because a game is every sprite you see is made of pixels. So like at the grid, if you want that each of them are 8 pixels, then you have to have the same consistency for the rest of your game. You cannot bring some very low detailed sprite and then later bring something that is highly detailed and has higher pixels. And if a person just look at those models, they know that they are not related to each other. So that's why there is an important thing called PPU, with his pixel per unit. So let me give you a clear example. For example, we have 8 by 8 um, pixel. You see that is very tiny. Let me put it here. Now imagine that I want to make a tree, something like that. This is not tree, but you know what I'm talking about, a mushroom. I have this, and then let's Give it a color. You see, that is very, very pixelate. And for that, I make it something like that. Oh, I brought that in the wrong. Good. New layer. So delete that because it has to be transparent. Always be careful. Yes, and you can add more detail. For example, add here, here. You see, you're working with pixels. This is not a good model because I'm not pixel artist. I usually choose uh, the second approach that has a higher quality. But okay, that is usually something like this. Now I export it as PNG file and choose it one. And then I would have a very highly detailed model. You see, this is bigger. And let me go here. Let's zoom in. And now I want to have the same tree there. I can have so much freedom because I can add much details. I have a space for that. And it will not even be pixelated after I try to color them. So I select, no, this is a brush tool. For that, do you see that? Do you see the color outline? Yes, this is pixelated, but as there's so much pixel in one place that we see that the color is seamless. So here, and um, imagine that this is it. I want to show you that how much detail we can add to that. So it depends on you. Some people like the retro pixel arts. They're kind of nostalgic and they like that. But some people, they like more realistic things. And I think the age of the player is also important. Usually the kids love to, for example, mm, they love more pixel arts, but the adults usually love something that is, so I have, so for example, something like, I want to be very quick. I just don't want to spend more time on that, but okay, let's make it something that is acceptable. And you also learn something from this. So when you're modeling yourself, yeah, give us some ideas. This is not good, but no, that's fine. Okay. Now imagine that you have this. And now I want to export that and drop them here. For that, go to here, you see PPU, pixel per unit. And as you saw that the picture has, it doesn't show here. It is 8 pixel by 8 pixel. I say 8, you see that is 1 unit of that. Yes, do this so that it wouldn't change that. Um, yes, in your game, something like this would appear, and every unit are 8 pixels. So now you want to make a very big boss, then you have to calculate 8, 16, because there are 2 cubes, 3 cubes, and 4. You have to, you say 8 multiply by 4, this is 32. So you have to make in Photoshop, make something new as you make it 32 by 32. And again, you put, for example, imagine that is something that I'm talking about. Then you make the PPU as 8, and then he will be 4 times bigger than this. It is still considered to be, has a resolution of 8. Um, Imagine that we have this second one, the 128. So what about that? If I want that this takes the same one grid as it is, then I have to put 128 pixel per unit. So that would be 1 unit. So 128. And then I put it here, and it is 1 unit. But look at the difference. Look at the quality. This is the for the retro pixel game, but this is for more highly resolution games. So they are different. Actually, if I say it to point, it has better color. Okay. So of course they are different and they have different purposes. Some people like this artist style, some people like this. But you cannot use, for example, every picture and every sprite into your game, because something like this happens, because pictures are different resolution. So you have to, for all of your game, you have to have this thing in mind. That's what would be the pixel per unit. It would be a constant value. So every picture that you have here just are coherent and visually appealing and are similar to this. Or if you have, if you want to make a game that is 128, you cannot bring something that has a different PPU, because like this, that would be comparing each other. If you are in one game, that would be really, really trivial, and people will leave that game. So, but what if I want that, for example, I have a building in the game that is 4 times bigger than this tree, but it still has a PPU of 8. Let's do that in Photoshop very quickly. So yes, um, we want that 4 grid has the still like 8 PPU. So 8 in 4 multiplied by 4 is 32, and 32. Again, I just want to make something really, really fast. So make a new layer, because we want PNG and we don't want to have that background. And make something as a building. This is not really pixelated, because to make it pixelated, you have to give some dots, for example. No. Make some dots. They have to be pixelated. Something like this. If you want a pixel game, it has to be in that kind of artist style. And you're working mostly with the cubes. Okay, imagine that you have this. And again, I'm not a pixel artist. So now I dragged and dropped it here. And I change the pixel to PPU to 8, and you see 8, 8, 8, 8. Because that was 32 pixels. Now you have 4 of 8 pixels beside each other. So yeah, in the 8 pixel retro game, you can use that. You use for example, 128. You can use that, but you have to change PPU and make sure that how long do you want that to be 1 unit. If you want it to be 1 unit, then you have to use 8 pixel. You want to be 4 units, then make it 32, for example, but the PPU should still always be 8. And also your artwork should resemble to that. So for example, if I make it 8 pixel, wow, that is like a building in front of that one. Okay, imagine you have this, and this is your game. You see that these two do not have the same art style, or even this. You have to be careful that pixel arting is not just changing, for example, from one pixel, for example, just reducing the pixels. It means that you have to be familiar with its own style. So yes, this is, if you put these two things there in a game, they know that they are different things. Yes, you can make exactly another tree with the same resolution and also PPU of 8, but you have to make it in a way that is special for pixel art way, that is different than the resolution thing. So that's it. That was a very important thing that you had to know. I've told you this because they are very important concepts. Because some people say, okay, I can use AIs to make me pictures, but as they have different resolutions and different styles, then if you bring them into your game, for example, you say, okay, one warrior, for example, I give Leonardo AI just to make me a warrior, or the player from that one, or even from the Leonardo, and when you put them in a game, they seems like a real mess. There is another way that I'm going to show you how to create your own models using AIs, but it's not that you can combine every picture to each other. You have to be careful of the resolution, of the style. These are very important. So at first, before we proceed to the next lesson, so decide what type of game do you like. Do you like pixel arted, or do you like to give high resolution? I myself like the second one, but your preferences are more important. And the techniques are the same. Everything that I'm going to teach you from further on are quite the same. But you have to decide for your game which one do you want to follow. So that was this for today. So please make your mind, because you cannot change your mind from some points in the game. So think about what the resolution and the style your 2D game will be, because don't say, okay, I just want to have a test project. Always put your best, especially in the first project that you're going to begin. Imagine that you want to sell this game. So that's how you will show your real potential.